everybody. Today we're going to be talking to John Matthews. He is a director, writer, and producer. Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more, www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.samiraentertainment.com. Hello, John. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad you joined us today.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I'm super excited to talk to you. You've had a very interesting career, and you probably have a lot of insight to share, having gone from actually being a lawyer to a filmmaker. And I'd love to hear about how you got started. So you're in law, and all of a sudden you have this desire to become a filmmaker. How did that happen?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So I went to law school to do public interest law. So, I was doing something that I really loved. I was the legal director of the ACLU of Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
And I'd been practicing for 7 years and, kind of had my dream job in a way, but still wasn't happy, still had this artistic side that I've had my whole life. And that kind of morphed into film as I got older. And, I turned 30 and 31. I was like, oh, well, if I want to do this, I should just go for it. So yeah. I applied to one film school, like my dream school at NYU. And, you have to make application video, to submit.
And, like an actual film?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I'd watched a lot of movies, but never really made that many movies.
Oh, you hadn't even made something. Oh, that's neat. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was a full-time lawyer. So, I wasn't out there.
You're a little busy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a camera at Target and, I didn't know any actors. So I just acted in it myself and had a friend shoot it. And I just made this film about a young lawyer who was nervous for court, me.
Okay, you could relate to that probably.
Yeah. And before I submitted it to NYU, I gave it to a friend for a critique and she was like, it's terrible.
Are you serious?
So I'd already taken the camera back and got my money back, because it's expensive.
Right.
So I had to go back to Target, repurchase the camera. I shot the whole thing over. And, I still think they got me confused with somebody else because my name's really common, John Matthews, but I got into NYU.
That's amazing. That is an excellent story. Oh, my God.
And then I'm like, oh, crap. How am I going to pay for this? I've got all these student loans from law school and undergrad. And NYU is the most expensive private university in America. So the next day I got a letter in the mail saying I had a full scholarship. So I was like,
did you apply for a scholarship or are you just wow?
Yeah. No, it was totally out of the blue. Again, my name's really common. There might be somebody, out there in Colorado or
that didn't get in. We won't think about that part.
Hey, that was mine.
I love it. Oh my God. It was like destiny for you. It was fate. You were meant to become a filmmaker. So
it kind of feels like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you just gave up the legal job and just moved because it's not like you could do it remotely.
Yeah. No, I quit my job. 9 days later, I started the grad film program at NYU. And,
I think that's amazing. Oh my God. I admire that because a lot of us don't have that kind of courage to go after something. And this is big, right? It's wow. When you got there, did you have any moments of what the heck did I just do kind of feeling?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was okay, so, kind of toughest decision I've ever made, but nothing else I'd rather be doing. I mean, I think film school maybe isn't for everybody, especially kids these days are so smart and creative. But, I think you go because you either need to make the connections or you need to learn the skills. And I didn't have either. So I definitely needed film school. And I just remember orientation showing up and, there's 30 people in my class or something, a small class.
Right.
And all of these heroes of mine that are there as part of the faculty, Todd Solondz is there.
Oh,
Iris
wow.
is
Okay.
there. And the whole reason I decided to apply there was because I saw Spike Lee give a lecture at my undergrad and was talking about NYU and Spike was there.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, just, it was just crazy, to see all these filmmakers that are my heroes that are like my professors. And in my third year, I ended up applying to be a teaching assistant for Spike and got the job. And Spike ended up, so I got to work for Spike Lee, and he ended up giving me a grant to make my first documentary, which is like what started it off for me.
That was going to be my next question. What was the first thing you made after? So what was the documentary about, and how was it different than the first time?
Yeah, the documentary, I think that's how I got the job with Spike, because, he's so good to his students. He like really takes the time with like office hours and reads your scripts and watches your films. And
does he still do that?
Yeah, he's still there.
Oh my God, it makes me want to go. I'm too old, but it makes me want to go.
Oh yeah, well,
wow.
I mean, there are people of all ages there for sure. Yeah, he's so good to his students, and he was watching cuts of my documentary footage as I brought it in and different things, and I think really, I don't know, kind of related to it in a way. It's about my, at the time, 10-year-old cousin who beats leukemia and makes a run for Little Miss West Virginia.
Oh my God, heart-wrenching.
It kind of takes place in this world of her dad. My cousin also was a opioid addict and, lived in this trailer park kind of known for its crime and drugs and guns in West Virginia.
Oh, and
wow. Maybe not that too dissimilar from a lot of, the places in Brooklyn that Spike was familiar with.
So very real and kind of gut wrenching, because it's stuff that we all have experienced. Somebody with addiction, somebody with a could be fatal condition wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Were students normally doing things that intense for their storylines, for their documentaries?
Well,
that's pretty serious.
It's really serious. I was, really blessed to have that kind of access to the family, and they were so open and just privileged to that they shared their lives with me like that.
You got to tell that story. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. What a cool, is that an origin story for how you became a filmmaker? That is so cool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wow. That's kind of neat. All right. So you get through film school. What was your first, besides the documentary, suddenly you ended up becoming a writer. You've probably had every job there is to have on set and acted. So what was your first narrative type film that wasn't documentary based?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Especially in film school at NYU. I mean, you crew on each other's films and you do everything from, I did sound, I was a grip, I was camera, everything. I had to load film into a camera, which is, nerve wracking to say the least.
Yeah, I think that would scare me. I've never worked with actual film.
Yeah. One of the first things I did, I was lucky enough to, I was a classmate of James Franco's, and then he was a professor there, and I took his class, and it was I got into his class. He kind of selected some people he wanted into it. And it was I don't know, there were 8 of us or something. And the whole class was he wasn't oh, I'm James Franco, I know so much about movies, I'm going to teach you everything I know, but more hey, I'm James Franco, I have these connections. Let's make a film together. So that's what we did.
Nice.
And we made a feature that we each directed 2 sequences from. We wrote and directed it.
Oh
and
my God, what a great way to learn.
That was awesome. And for mine, I got to direct James Franco and mine, and Olivia Wilde and Whoopi Goldberg.
No way. That is awesome.
Yeah, I got to direct an Oscar winner and an Oscar nominee, I guess, for one of my first things. And, it was so funny, it's mostly students working on the film, and we're all trying to be super professional, we know what we're doing.
You're already there, right?
Yeah. And I remember, so before the first take with Whoopi, I'm call action and somebody's phone goes off. And I'm
oh my God.
Whoopi, and I'm Whoopi, I'm so sorry. This happened, and, I'm going to make sure it never happens again. And who was that? And all this stuff. And then she looks down and silences her phone and is oh, sorry.
Oh,
but she was so cool.
Awesome story. Wow.
She was so cool, though. She was, the easiest person to work with for as much of a legend as she is.
Right.
Was so humble and just joking all the time and just totally cool with whatever and up for anything on set.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, what an amazing experience for you. So when you graduated, like at what point did you become a writer? Did you have to do that while you were in school, or you suddenly got the writing bug? Because you've been writing and making your own films now for a bit.
Yeah, no, I think I was a writer way before, like typing into a computer is a lot cheaper than producing a film. So I've definitely been a writer way before I was a filmmaker.
Oh, wow. Well, and I guess as an attorney too, you probably write a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and litigation, a lot of it is storytelling. It's who can tell the best story more often than
the other guy, or I don't know how it works. Haven't been there.
Yeah. Or if the law's on your side, if you have the better story, a lot of the times you win.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was probably kind of what started it. I had a case that went to the West Virginia Supreme Court that I argued in one that was a race discrimination case. And that was a lot of writing went into that for sure.
Oh, wow.
Appeals, went up through the whole appeals process to the highest court in the state. But at the same time, I was writing scripts and didn't really know what I was doing. And I guess my first feature script, so I made Cliffside, which is my documentary that I was telling you about.
Right.
And it went to South by Southwest.
Oh, that's very cool. Were you able to go there and see it and all that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was such a cool honor to be part of that festival. And while I was there, I was kind of promoting this fiction script that I had that was a crime drama, and ended up kind of getting it produced through maybe the buzz surrounding my documentary and everything. And it's called Collie the Killer. And it was
just going to ask you if it was that, because I was trying to watch some of your work, be prepared. And the storyline in that's really interesting, because I love how I don't know if I probably shouldn't give away stuff, right? No, it's in the trailer. Never mind. So I love the Justin Bieber thing. I got robbed by. And then when the end where he's doing the voiceover and he's like, it's just business, something to that effect.
Yeah.
I love that. So you got that made by attending that and kind of sharing your documentary. They got to see what you were all about.
Yeah. And we had kind of, I don't know, people were like, oh, if you go to a film festival, make sure you have something ready. So if you meet anybody, and they ask you what's next, you can have something to show them, to pitch them to.
That's really good advice, because I'm going to AFM again in November.
Cool.
So I will make sure I have all that lined up.
Yeah, and I've been probably in this same place and haven't taken advantage of it as well. But, your best time, I think, to pitch something is when you're hot and kind of on the festival circuit. And that's when people want to know what's next. And
that's
I was lucky enough to have a teaser and a script and everything ready to go. And I had this partner that I was collaborating with, who's the star of the film, Richard Cabral, who
he did a good job.
Oh my gosh, he's amazing.
Yeah. He's
the real deal, He's like, he grew up in East LA and was in gangs his whole life. And
so he brought authenticity like just naturally, because I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
How interesting.
He was, kind of the inspiration for everything, and, brings that authenticity to it all, and wrote the script for him. And, I think while we were shooting it, he was nominated for an Emmy for a show called American Crime.
Oh, wow.
John Ridley show that was out a few years ago. So, yeah, he was in Mayans for several seasons. And
and that one just ended.
So
he's sad. Yeah.
He's had a really cool career.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to make that film with him. Yeah.
Yeah. You worked with some really cool people. That's kind of awesome. And then what's your recent project? What's your most recent one that you're doing now, or what's next, or both?
Well, so I've got one that's in the festival circuit right now. That's a short film called Tagulan that stars my son's great grandmother, who got into acting in her 90s.
I love that.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a autobiographical piece in a way, where she's wanting to
tell her story, maybe.
Yeah. So she's wanting to return.
What does it mean? The Tagulan? What does that mean?
So it's Tagalog for rainy season.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
she's wanting to return to the Philippines to spend her remaining years, and one of the things she wants to do is play mahjong and watch the rain. So that's where
Oh,
the title comes from.
that's
So
beautiful.
oh, thanks. So we just premiered at Holly Shorts and yesterday actually, and it won Best Director at the San Diego Film Awards, and then we're
Congratulations.
thank
So
you,
cool.
and Grandma was nominated for Best Actor for that, so that was pretty cool.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
serious? That
yeah.
is so awesome. Oh my God. I love
It,
that.
yeah, it was really cool. And
Oh,
yeah, the other one I have that I'm still shooting right now is another documentary that's set in Bakersfield, California. That's about an unhoused community there. So I've been shooting that since January,
oh
and
wow. Is
my
that the
lead.
World Gone Wrong?
I don't think it's on IMDb. It's called Baker Street.
Baker
Uh,
Street. Oh
called
wow.
Baker Street. And yeah, I'm friends with a social worker in that area. And she invited me to come up and make some films on a transitional living facility where she was working that works with people on the streets. And through that, I started meeting people and, kind of the same way as Cliffside, where people just kind of want to tell their story.
Yeah, that sounds
Uh,
very powerful. Like you're going to have a lot of human, I don't know if interest is the right word, but a lot of emotion there when people are sharing. That sounds interesting. Do you have a preference between like fictional storytelling and documentaries?
It's funny. I think the thing I liked about being a lawyer and being a litigator in particular was that I got to do a lot of different things. I wasn't in court every day. Some days I was writing and some days I was researching and some days I was meeting with clients. And it's kind of the same way with filmmaking, like I
True.
like, like you'd have different kind of cases. I have different kinds of films that I'm interested in and different collaborators and actors and creative people that I get to work with and stories that I get to tell. And sometimes I'm writing and sometimes I'm out in the field, with Baker Street, one man band kind of thing, just running and gunning and shooting everything.
Oh,
And some days
wow.
I'm on set with 70 people,
Right.
working with me. So I think, just doing one all the time would get maybe old or monotonous,
Boring.
but yeah. But it's cool to be able to switch it up, maybe.
Yeah, and it's nice with the documentaries or telling stories that are personal because they can have an impact in a different way. So,
Yeah.
beyond entertainment, I guess they'll be entertaining, but it probably meaningful and inspiring at the same time. And
Well,
I love that. I love that
Rose,
you do
my
it.
my lead in the film, she's a 58-year-old sex worker and probably the most incredible person I've ever met.
Oh,
And from the
wow.
very beginning, so I'm trying to do this the right way. I mean, there's a whole movement which is different than when I was in film school. I mean, documentary is kind of on that line between is it art, is it journalism, what are the ethics kind of thing. And
Yeah, it's true.
with
I've always been
this,
scared of them, but I really admire people that are able to do it because, I this year I had two clients and I was telling their true stories.
yeah,
And, I always do my research because I'm a writer first and foremost. So I always know that in real life, there are two sides to every story. And I don't want anything like if I were to do a documentary, I'd be really scared that I wasn't bringing balance to it and telling the stories, fairly, I guess.
right.
So it's definitely an art. And I really admire that you're able to do that. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
kudos.
I'm
That's
trying to
really
do
cool.
it, kind of walk that line, but at the same time, I don't want to be one of those extractive filmmakers who come into a community and kind of take the story and then leave the community in worse or the same places where they were, and then I go
Yeah.
and get notoriety from it. So I've
Yeah.
made Rose, my lead, a partner with me on the film. So she's a co-producer.
Oh,
I
I
pay
love
her.
that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I pay her along the way for her time, and any money that we make with the film, we're splitting 50-50. So
Oh,
she's
that
in
is
it with me.
incredible. Wow.
Yeah. So
So
if the
it's going to
film does good,
matter.
she does well, and and maybe she'll end up getting off the streets because of it.
Wow. That would be something. So I love when I interview people that are doing things that have social impact or, they're bringing awareness to things that are going on in our society that we just drive by. So
Right.
it
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
amazing. Wow. Wow. And well, when you're done with this project, have you already started thinking about what you'll do next?
Well, yeah, I guess the other thing, I have a fiction script that's the first adaptation I've ever done. So it's a adaptation of a short story that was in the Kenyon Review by my friend Daniel O'Malley.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, it's set in kind of suburban St. Louis, and it's about this young guy that works at a grocery store that kind of ends his vow of silence and befriends this older couple, and and
Oh,
kind of makes a new family. So yeah, it's kind of, I love quiet, understated dramas, which is,
yeah.
Kelly Reichardt is one of my favorite filmmakers, and I actually got the privilege of interning with her when I was living in Brooklyn.
Oh,
And
wow.
I love all of Kelly's films, like, from Old Joy to the new one showing up. And this one kind of has that kind of tone and feel of just kind of long, deliberate kind of shots, and characters that are more in the neo-realist kind of mode, or in that world of coming from there. So
That sounds incredible.
that's the next one I'm working on. So yeah, like you said, going from one thing to the next to not get
Keeping
bored.
life interesting. So a
Keeping
couple
life
more questions and then
interesting.
we're going to do our 5 for 5. But
All right.
coming from being a lawyer to a filmmaker, how has that helped you?
I think the most obvious thing, like we talked about, is probably I read my contracts more closely. But the real part of it, I think, that helps me is the storytelling part of it. I mean, being a litigator in particular, you get to know your clients better than their mothers do sometimes, because they have to tell you everything. They have to tell you the good and the bad. You don't want any surprises when you get to court. So they have to spill the beans, so you really get to
Yeah.
know people.
You
And
probably have a sense of the things that aren't said too, where,
yeah,
others may not.
yeah. And I think also with casting, I feel like I have a really good bullshit detector, that I can tell if somebody's authentic or not.
Right, right.
And I think that really helps me with casting. I really do. I mean, I think, being a lawyer, you kind of have to judge when somebody's telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
And that kind of comes through with authenticity, with if they're really feeling what their character's supposed to be feeling
I
for.
love that. I also want to get one of those detectors. Do you know where they are?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that'd be so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And then the final question before we wrap, but what advice would you give to somebody that wants to become a writer or a filmmaker or enter into this industry?
Well, I would say to just do it. Now the barriers are broken down so much that I got a camera at Target. Now everybody's got cameras on their phones.
Oh boy, it's true.
And it's so much easier. And I think part of it is learning. There's two parts, like I was saying. It's learning the craft, and then it's who you know. And it's not one or the other. Like, you can't have one without the other, really, because if you don't know the people and you're good at what you're doing, nobody's ever going to see it. And if you know people and your work isn't good, they're not going to care.
Right.
So you've got to learn your craft, and you've got to make the connections that are going to help you get your movies made, basically.
So true.
Yeah. I mean, when I moved to LA, I didn't know anybody. I just made it my job to meet as many people as I could. And, really, I, kind of volunteered to do a music video for a friend. And it was through that music video that the musician who was in that played basketball in a league with one of the producers from New Image Millennium, who does
Wow.
genre films like London Has Fallen and
Way. That's
a lot
awesome.
of those.
Yeah.
And that's how I got a meeting and my script read and to pitch for Collie the Killer. So that's
do everything and be good to everybody. Just network. You never know. I guess
yeah. I mean, just meet as many people as you can, and you never know what it'll lead to. And then have something ready to show them.
I love that. That is so cool. Okay, well, where can people find you if they want to know more about you?
Instagram's a good place, at John Matthews, JonMatthewsWV. I think that's all my social media is that. And then I have a website, John Matthews Film.
What's the WV for?
West Virginia. That's where I'm from.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that, but I was like, oh, I'll sound dumb if it's not.
Nope. That's my home state. So I'm a proud West Virginian.
I love it. I should probably guess, right? I'm from Ohio. Can you tell?
Oh, nice. What part?
I was born in Wright Pat Air Force Base in Dayton.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Kind of live coast to coast there. I'm probably a gypsy, but who knows? All right. Well, if you're ready, I would love for you to come back. Before we close, we have to do our 5 for 5 so people will know a little bit more about you.
Okay.
And yeah, so are you ready?
Ready.
There'll be a test, but
okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I would fail. No. All right. The first question is, what is your favorite food?
Ooh, I want to say pepperoni rolls from West Virginia.
Oh man, you can't get that very often anymore, though, can you?
That's true. That's true. And I'm vegetarian, but they have vegetarian ones.
Oh, I am too. That's good. I like that. Healthier food on set, right?
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
What is something that inspires you or motivates you in life?
I think I'm really inspired by music. I play music, and music inspires my writing. It inspires ideas, and I would say music.
Music's a beautiful answer. It's awesome. So, what is something not film related that you have always dreamed of doing but you haven't done yet?
Yeah, well, the first thing that comes to mind is we were just talking about music. I always joke that like when I retire, I'm going to start a blues band.
Oh, you should. Oh, that's awesome. You got a long way to go, but that is awesome.
Yeah. So I'll be rocking out like when I'm in my 60s,
Yeah, there you go. That's kind of cool. And I love when people do that too. So, okay, well, here's a song for you. Oh, I mean, here's a question. Oops. What is your favorite song to sing at the top of your lungs in the car?
Country Roads. Absolutely.
Oh, West Virginia.
Country Roads. Yeah, Mountain Mama, that one.
Take Me Home. Yeah, okay, I get it. That's a really good song too. Actually, I caught my son listening to that song. I'm like, where'd you hear that song? Right? Because he was born in 2000. Just like,
oh, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
But he finds the best music from my childhood, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question. And this one's really hard for filmmakers, but what is your favorite movie?
5 Easy Pieces. Yeah. 5 Easy Pieces. I mean, I love movies from the 70s in general. I love like Tender Mercies and Fat Cities. And
I've never seen that. I'm going to write that down. 5 Easy Pieces?
Yeah. I watched it just again recently. I watch it all the time, but I watched
Was it a big movie?
No, it was a tiny movie. It was one of those, like in the 70s, all the studios didn't know what the hippies wanted to watch. So they were just throwing money at like the weird projects, like Easy Rider or McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2001 even, so
I'm going to look that up. That I've never heard that. That's awesome. I probably shouldn't admit that, but super cool.
Check it out. It has my favorite ending in the, and I love endings. It's my favorite ending in movies. Jack Nicholson, the director, actually started directing the Monkees TV show.
Oh my God, that was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid.
Oh, cool. The
way they'd like dance in the beginning when they don't, hey, we're the Monkees,
Yeah, exactly.
I loved that show. I just I was obsessive about it, and I didn't know they weren't the Beatles. That's how much I loved them.
Right. Yeah, I was the same way when I was a kid. Yeah, Bob Rafelson is the director, and he started out with the Monkees, and he made a movie called Head that starred the Monkees that's super weird and artsy.
Oh, wow.
But so cool. I actually love the Monkees too. I mean, Mike Naismith was like a really cool kind of Americana musician that played with Graham Parsons and the Rolling Stones a little bit. So they're maybe not the Beatles to some people, but they've got some music cred for sure.
They were amazing. I love them. So, and you have been absolutely awesome to talk to. If you have a new project coming out or you ever want to come back, let me know. I think we've all learned a lot, and definitely we shouldn't be afraid to take those leaps because you are right where you belong. I love it. So Thank you. Wish you a great day. Thanks for coming on.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Today's show is sponsored by Gym Kitty, helping women on their health and wellness journey by providing high-quality, organically sourced vitamins and supplements. Visit them today at www.gymkitty.net. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast has been sponsored by Samara Entertainment.